Greetings to all of my conjure matches, my hoodoo snatches, my swamp critters, and my mystical misfits everywhere. This is Berica Badu from Berlin coming to you with your May Cosmic Conjure Calendar. Well, mayday, mayday, mayday. I'm coming to you from this bathroom because the month of May is going to be kind of a stinker. May is all about these extremities, even though we couldn't tell because May started out really light. We had like this enchanted April where there were just so many magical days. We were just compelled to do work for no reason. Well, May comes along sort of like, I don't care. We also come into this month with Jupiter being retrograde, Saturn being retrograde, and Pluto being retrograde. So not only are we looking for some kind of new internal wisdom and some new kind of freedom from our restrictions and limitations, we're also going really deep into our own funk. And then we started having some heat ups. We had Chiron move into Aries, which starts, and then Juno moved into Aries too. So we had a little bit with the significant others. Plus, we have this triple entente in Capricorn, like of Lilith together with Mars and Pluto. A tight square with Mercury, which came out in retrograde last month and has made things difficult for our new forms of self-expression because we just keep butting heads with everyone. Right. Especially on contentious points because the new moon started with a conjunction to Uranus, which made everything very boisterous and ironic and unnecessarily revolutionary. We had like this Taurus egress where all of a sudden the moon went into Taurus and then the sun went into Taurus. Well, Venus already has been in Taurus and hasn't liked it, so she's progressed into Gemini to be one step ahead of everybody else. So at the top of the month, we not only find ourselves in this struggle with a recovering Mercury and a stagnant Saturn, we also find this triple entente of Mars together with Pluto and with Lilith. So there's a lot of deep focus for not just survival needs, but pure dominance going on right now. We also begin the month with a T-square, a pivotal moment for the sun and our energy. Are we going to proceed in a direction that is more nurturing and supportive of the race? Are we going to evolve forward, or are we going to, take a step back here? We've had like this mass awakening thing going on with Neptune and Pisces, and we've had these jarring elements in the last couple of months, so we got to see. We had two rascals, really, one of which being Jupiter. And Jupiter, goodness, that is giving a little sextile boost to this triple entente in Capricorn. So it's more power that it's after. It's just, kind of ridiculous. Like, you just know there's going to be a blowout. We also begin the month of May with two yods, or fingers of God, one pointing at Saturn because it's causing all this stuff, or one pointing at Venus. Now, Venus is actually going to be one of the heroes of the month, as is Mercury. And Saturn is not even really the villain in this film either. We have to go back to that Mars-Pluto-Lilith triple entente for one. And it's a good thing that we've got those fingers because we're still recovering from a couple of Thor's hammers that took place last weekend, and we're going to have another one drop with another finger of God on Thursday as we begin the month. So it's kind of rough. Now, extreme flip over, May just doesn't care. There's like this I don't care energy. Like, May is just going to give us a bunch of like great days for positive work. And the troublemaker that everybody is talking about this month, Uranus, of course, after it figured prominently in that new moon back in the middle of April, just before it bumped the moon into Taurus and the sun into Taurus on 4/19, making everything all up in Venus's house. It's been creeping its way up. It's presently at 29 degrees Aries, where Aries falls apart, its own undoing that anaretic degree. Now, everybody's making this big fuss about Uranus Uranus moving into Taurus. But really, when we examine that, we had some panic about the last time that Uranus moved, and that was into Aries. We had the earthquake, tsunami, and Fukushima meltdown on the same day. I remember it very well. I had this huge mysterious fight with my partner over socks. Now, at the same time, we had a big deal way back then because Jupiter also went into Aries, and we saw this revolutionary phenomenon of the Arab Spring using a technological means like Uranus would bring with some kind of grand path on Jupiter. Now, fast forward, Jupiter is back in a Mars-ruled sign, traditionally Mars-ruled in any case. But looking at the last couple of times that Uranus went into Taurus, people were kind of wary. We had peaceful periods, yet there was a building up of the tension. What that means is that you can use this very intense, liberating energy to absolutely fry anyone's circuits. You need to shut something down. You need to zap someone. You need some kind of electrical tension. This is the time to build that up. So what is going to be annoying is the Mercury square to Pluto and Lilith on the 2nd through the 9th of May. In which case, if you just want something to blurt out, this is a good time to rub some truth serum on something. If you've ever hung out with an Aqua dominant, you know they have a funny sense of humor. That's that Uranus thing. So there's going to be an irony as the first week of the month is surprisingly good for all kinds of right-handed work, for healing and helping. And I wouldn't quite recommend prosperity because we still have Murphy's Law hanging at 29 degrees Aries for another couple of days. So hold off on that just yet. Now on the 11th, we have some activity between Mars and Uranus. This is going to be the flavor of the month, really. When you have these two in conflict, there is some difficulty in expressing yourself in a forward fashion. You're really rebellious and spunky, and you're not going to take any bull from anybody. But Mars is not having it, and they're going to have this little rivalry starting to set in. You can expect things to get from sort of bumpy to just downright hostile. It's a good time to kick things in the nuts. Now, one of the unsung heroes of the month is Mercury. The powers of mind are on a real comeback this month after that retrograde, and we're going to see a goal. Mercury is going to hit Taurus on the 13th, right as the moon is coming back into Taurus as well. But on the way to do that, both have to make another conjunction with Uranus. Really, week 3 of May is like the shit show. I mean, week 3, we're going to see a Thor's hammer thrown against Chiron. We're going to see a T-square against Mercury. We're going to see another Thor's hammer thrown against Jupiter for being a general pain in the neck over there in Scorpio. And I'm going to see yet another Thor's hammer just thrown for no reason against the North Node and Ceres. Just screw you, progress. So the new moon is going to come around on the 15th and kick off the month of the snake for us, right? But we're going to have a couple of heat ups in addition to the big events. We're going to have the moon opposite to Jupiter, so of course our will is going to be conflicted, and we're going to be really kind of verbal about it. Also, there's going to be some kind of confusion, being too much spontaneity if you want to, hotfoot somebody or get them to act too quickly. But we also have this action taking place with Mars and Uranus. Uranus goes into Taurus on this day. But now, what else to watch out for is that right behind that, Mars is going to go into Aquarius on the 15th, and they're going to continue this little squared off relationship with one another, now in fixed signs. Mind you, we're going to be feeling that Mars-Uranus tension from the 5th until the 28th. But this really starts to intensify on the 17th. You have the moon coming in and the other hero of the month, Venus. The moon and Venus supporting this. Let's do some love. Let's do some protection. Let's do some healing. And let's fight this little culprit, this Jupiter that's been giving this beneficial boost to the Capricorn triumvirate. And then on the 19th, we get into this big conflict. The moon is going to be opposing to Saturn. And then later on the same day, it's going to be opposing this triple entente of Mars, Pluto, Lilith, which is kind of broken up by now. It's just Pluto and Lilith. But the moon's going to hit them all on the same day. The action is going to be so hot that Venus is going to swoon. And she's going to go even further sign from Gemini into Cancer now, meaning matters of the heart look to the moon. On the 20th, we start to recover, and the sun goes into Gemini. So it's starting to shift towards Mercury's game once again. Now, week 4 is going to be ironic because it's full of conflicts. But again, we're on the other extreme of being on the right path again. And won't be quite as pronounced or as bumpy as week 3, but it will be a change. We're going to have Mercury opposing Jupiter, so compulsions for the truth, concealing it and revealing it. This is indicated. We have the moon in opposition with Neptune and also in Chiron. So if you want to bring out somebody's pain or confusion, or you want to affect some dreams, or if you want to arrive at the root of a wound, this is a good time for that. We're also having some Venus transit of Saturn, which means that love work will be indicated once again. And the moon holding Uranus in check in Taurus as it comes into alignment conjunct with Jupiter. Our old tricky culprit Jupiter there has turned into a benevolent ally again. So we'll see the 4th week of Gemini wrapping up on a rather lighter and more positive note. And at the end of the month, thankfully, we're going to see an end of those really slow Thor's hammers and T-squares that started back at the beginning of week 3, starting on the 22nd, but then continuing through the 27th, the 29th, and the 30th. At the end of May, thank goodness, you'll be able to do some things towards tranquility and even prosperity. We have survived Uranus moving into Taurus. Mercury has put Jupiter in check, and the moon and Venus are reining that in. We have the disappearance of the Thor's hammers against Jupiter and Chiron in the North Node. And we have 2 new additional features leading us into June, which will be another finger of God, this time thrown against Saturn. As, all right, time to get shit together. It's too messy. And then the other one, starting on the 28th, will be a lovely, watery, grand trine, this trinity of Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer coming together as Neptune, Jupiter, and Venus are all in alignment. I feel 10 pounds lighter already, don't you? From Berlin, this is Berika Badu. You've been read. Don't panic.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.